The day after I woke up and told my wife, why did I do that? I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on. I remember one thing, I had a very hard moment in that part of my life, but I assure you in that age, I could have put that clown in the first round, but I sold my soul, and I'm ashamed of it.
Is it true that you made $170 million from this fight?
I made a lot of money, the most money I've made ever.
60 million households, Jake.
250 million people.
Bro, that is so
It's all downhill from here.
No, for sure.
I peaked.
How do you think the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight plays out?
I don't know. I want to make sure. I believe it once I see him in the ring.
If Paul starts his boxing career earlier, could Jake Paul have been a champion?
Is it possible?
The ending is already locked in, and it's insane, because Anthony Joshua didn't just knock out Jake Paul. He blew up an entire illusion and forced Mike Tyson to quietly admit he chose a script over blood. And now boxing looks fake in a way it can't undo. This shouldn't feel real. So rewind with me, because to understand how we got here, you have to accept something uncomfortable. This wasn't a fight. It was a slow-motion betrayal that finally snapped the moment a real heavyweight touched a celebrity and reality corrected itself.
I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I told y'all. They made Mike Tyson retract his statement on Twitter. They made him rewrite a post on top of deleting a post. Yeah, I told you that fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was rigged. I told you that. I don't care what Mike Tyson is saying now. He have to do that to secure his money. He's still an investment for future exhibitions.
I can't get past the ringside image of Tyson watching Joshua dismantle Paul, because that wasn't pride or shock on his face. That was recognition mixed with regret. The kind that creeps up your spine when you realize someone else just did the thing you were paid not to do. Every piece of Tyson's muscle memory knew exactly what was happening. And if you think that didn't hit him hard, you're lying to yourself. Here's the part nobody wants to sit with, because it gets uncomfortable fast. Tyson could have ended Jake Paul whenever he wanted, and everyone in that building knew it, including Jake. That's why this Joshua knockout hits harder. It proves the ceiling was always artificial and the danger was always real. And once the truth leaks out, it can't be resealed, no matter how many statements get rewritten. When Joshua dropped Paul in round 5, the timeline fractured. Suddenly every past fight was re-examined under harsher light. You could feel viewers mentally rewinding to the Tyson bout, asking the same forbidden questions at the same time. Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he pull the trigger? Why did this feel different? And once those questions start looping, they don't stop.
Sit down on a podcast one time and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
People keep calling this a mismatch, but that word is too clean for what happened. This was exposure. This was gravity reasserting itself after years of suspension. Joshua didn't rush it, he hunted it. And that's what makes it terrifying, because when a real fighter takes his time, it means he already knows the ending. Jake felt that certainty closing in on him round by round. Then the 6th round landed like a verdict. Not just the punch, but the meaning behind it. That right hand didn't only break a jaw, it broke permission. Permission for this experiment to keep pretending it was boxing. Once titanium plates enter the conversation, the jokes die instantly. Anyone still laughing is either numb or lying. Eddie Hearn saying he gave Jake his debut and AJ gave him his last fight wasn't trash talk. It was a closing statement. Promoters don't talk like that unless they believe the door is actually shut. And if you think Jake didn't hear that echoing in his head under hospital lights, you're missing the psychological damage entirely.
Eddie, I want to follow with you because when this fight was first announced, you had said something to the effect of this would end Jake Paul's career. After what you saw tonight, do you think that Jake should continue to box, or what do you think the future holds for him?
Yeah, I really take my hat off. I mean, we have to see if it is a broken jaw. Those injuries are very difficult to come back from. But as AJ said, like that last shot would have knocked out a lot of heavyweights. And I know he went down heavy, but you know, he was conscious on the floor. And I thought his game plan, although obviously very negative early on, which it had to be.
Joshua tearing it apart forces a brutal comparison. One man stuck to the script, another ripped it up, and history only remembers one of those choices, no matter how big the check was. Call it a conspiracy if you want, but Tyson cracked the door open himself when he admitted he doesn't even remember the fight and woke up asking why he did it. That's not the voice of a man satisfied with a performance. That's the voice of someone who knows he left something sacred on the table. And regret like that doesn't get quieter with time, it gets louder. Let this sink in. Joshua didn't need to say a word after the fight. His fists said everything, and silence backed it up. When silence becomes the loudest voice in the room, it means the truth is too obvious to spin. And every influencer fighter watching just felt their stomach drop, whether they admit it or not.
Are you in pain?
Yeah, but
Does it hurt?
It's not from like talking.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like, because you got
It's like a baseball in there.
two plates.
It just feels like
4 titanium plates.
4 titanium plates. How many do you have?
Just one.
Nobody wants to pull this thread yet, because it threatens the entire business model. If one real heavyweight can erase years of hype in 6 rounds, then how fragile was this ecosystem the whole time? And if that question makes you uncomfortable, good. It should. Because someone is absolutely scrambling behind the scenes, right now trying to contain what this actually means.
Oh no, I don't remember the fight that much. I kind of blanked out a little. Listen, know what I remember? Coming back from the first round, and then the next day I remember Jacob doing some kind of, I don't know, what was he doing at the ring?
Oh yeah, little bow at the end, he bowed.
And that's the last thing I remember. You know, but the day after the fight, right after the day after, I woke up and told my wife, why did I do that? You know, I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on.
What did you think of Jake's power, man, when you were in there?
I keep thinking about Tyson watching that Broken Jaw Newsland, because biology doesn't lie and marketing can't argue with bone fractures. Seeing physical proof of what a real punch does forces you to confront every moment you chose not to throw one. And this shouldn't feel real. Unless regret is already eating at him harder than he's letting on. Here's a thought bomb you shouldn't ignore. If Tyson is now openly admitting money dictated outcomes, how many other fights are about to be relitigated in the public mind? Once trust erodes, it spreads fast. Boxing has always survived on belief, and belief is bleeding out right now. Another thing that won't leave me alone is how calm Joshua looked the entire time. Calm fighters are the most dangerous, and the most honest. That calm felt like someone executing a correction, not chasing glory. And corrections don't stop at one target. They ripple outward. So ask yourself who feels exposed next.
Just hoping after this Floyd fight, maybe we can have a rematch. He did well, but I want to try it again.
Is that something that you would be interested in terms of righting the wrong and knocking him out?
Yes, I would. I would be interested.
This doesn't end with a knockout clip or a press quote, because the silence afterward feels deliberate. And when things go quiet this suddenly, it usually means deals are being rewritten and stories are being buried. I don't trust it for a second. This situation is still unfolding, and something uglier is coming. When it breaks, this knockout will look like the warning shot. In hindsight, everything about this felt inevitable, like the sport finally got tired of pretending and snapped the rubber band back into place. For years, the line between spectacle and competition was stretched so far it was begging to break. Joshua just happened to be standing there when it did. Confidence slowly turning into arrogance without anyone noticing the exact moment it crossed over doomed this entire thing. Not ambition. Not money. The belief that reality could be negotiated if you talked loud enough and built a big enough audience. Watching a narrative collapse in real time is unsettling because it exposes how much fandom is built on trust. Once that trust cracks, you start questioning everything retroactively. How many moments were real and how many were padded to protect outcomes? Joshua didn't just win a fight. He reintroduced consequences. Consequences don't trend, but they linger. They sit with fighters long after cameras shut off. Preparation versus promotion keeps replaying in my head, because one happens in silence and the other needs noise to survive. When they collide, silence always wins. Not dramatically. Just decisively. Like gravity reminding you it was never impressed by hype. What really bothers me is how normal it became to treat real fighters as obstacles in a storyline instead of human beings with decades of experience wired into their instincts. Once you reduce them to plot devices, you forget they can end your night with one clean decision. There's also something sad in realizing even legends aren't immune to the system, that even someone like Tyson can be pulled into spectacle and money. It shows how powerful the machine has become. Moments like this rewrite the emotional hierarchy of a sport. The loud voices go quiet. The quiet professionals are the only ones left with credibility. Every replay of that knockout feels heavier, not because of the punch, but because of what it represents. A hard line between levels. A reminder that experience isn't time served, it's damage endured. The irony is brutal. The pursuit of legitimacy accelerated the collapse of illusion. Because chasing real competition means eventually meeting it, and real competition doesn't care about branding. Fallout matters more than the fight. Fallout is where careers pivot, managers reassess, matchmaking changes, and fans recalibrate belief. Joshua didn't rush anything. He waited for an opening that was always coming, and patience like that is learned through punishment. This didn't feel cruel. It felt surgical. And that makes it more damning. No chaos to hide behind. Just a methodical dismantling with nowhere to point blame but inward. Boxing needed this moment even if it didn't want it. Without reality checks, the sport drifts into theater. And theater without risk eventually becomes empty. There's a quiet reckoning happening now, not just for one fighter, but for an entire approach to selling fights. Spectacle still sells, but authenticity just reminded everyone why it matters. This will change how crossover is talked about, because crossover implies respect, not borrowed credibility. The psychological damage may outlast the physical injuries. Doubt doesn't leave easily at this level. And doubt is the one opponent you can't train away. What stays with me most is how fast admiration turns into scrutiny once the shield drops. There's no clean ending here. Just a sense that something shifted and hasn't settled yet. Like tectonic plates after an earthquake. The aftershocks are coming. And the most unsettling part is knowing this isn't the final chapter, because once a fault line is exposed this clearly, the next break could be louder, messier, and far less forgiving.